The U.S. recession forecast hits 100% as inflation rages and midterms loom. The U.S. economy falling into recession within the next 12 months is a virtual certainty, according to the latest Bloomberg economics forecast model released on Monday. Now, here's the thing to really keep in mind, too, right? If the U.S. economy falls into a recession, what people really need to do is one, they should have been, if you aren't yet, be stockpiling as much cash as you possibly can because everything is basically going to be on like a bargain aisle or a clearance aisle, right? There's going to be stocks that are super cheap. There's going to be real estate that is going to be super cheap, right? You might be able to buy a business for super cheap, right? Like if you do it right, if you set your money in the right position, if you don't have any debt and you just got this stockpile of cash that you could utilize, you could literally make a fortune when the US economy falls into a true recession. Like people have become multi-millionaires and billionaires when there's been a recession. So just keep that in mind. Try to not necessarily time the market, but be in a position where if you see an opportunity walk right by you very slowly, you could just grab a hold of it. So the dire projection surfaced just weeks before national midterm elections that we determine control of Congress just 1 week ago. So an embattled President Biden insisted a recession was unlikely, although technically we've already been in one, and said any downturn would be very slight if it does occur. Bloomberg Economics' latest statistical projections showed a 100% probability of a recession within the next 12 months as the U.S. economy contends with decades high inflation, Federal Reserve interest rate hikes, and mounting geopolitical tensions. The likelihood of a recession was 65% in the Bloomberg's model's most recent previous update. Generated by economists Anna Wong and Eliza Winger, the model utilizes 13 macroeconomic and financial indicators to assess the odds of a downturn from 1 month to 2 years in the future. The forecast model showed a 25% probability of a recession hitting even sooner, within the next 10 months, up from 0% odds in the last release. Fears of a deep recession have surged in recent months as the Fed hikes interest rates in a bid to cool inflation. Investors believe the Fed risks over-tightening monetary policy in reaction to higher prices and driving the economy into a sustained downturn. Segments of the U.S. economy, such as the housing market, have already showed signs of struggle. Not to mention the S&P 500 and etc., Nasdaq. The Fed has implemented supersized three-quarter point interest rate hikes at each of its last three meetings, with a fourth major increase expected when policymakers hold a two-day meeting November 1st to 2nd. Despite the rate hikes, inflation ran at a hotter than expected 8.2% in September. Bloomberg noted a separate poll of 42 economists predicted a smaller 60% probability of a recession within the next year. Biden, Treasury Secretary Janet Yellen, and others have downplayed concerns about the economic outlook for months. I don't think there will be a recession. If it is, it will be a very slight recession. That is, we'll move down slightly, Biden said during an interview with CNN last week. Look, it's possible. I don't anticipate it, he added later in the interview. U.S. GDP has declined for two straight quarters and the widely held definition of a recession. But the National Bureau of Economic Research, a key economic tracker, has yet to formally declare one is underway. See, this is the thing, right? Technically, we have already been in a recession. Technically speaking, we already have been. It's just so crazy. Joe Bide says, "What me worry? We're already in one." But Joe said, dot dot dot. Uh-oh, that can't be good news for the Democrats, can it? Question mark. No, it cannot! Exclamation point. I guess we'll find in 12 days when early voting starts. Inflation is supposed to be at 8%, but most of the items in grocery stores are 20% to 30% higher. Even carry-out food is 30% higher. Recently bought a pizza that used to cost $13, now $17.50. Thanks, Papa J. Maybe many people don't know what they used to spend on groceries, but I do, to the penny. We're being gaslighted. Inflation is much higher than we're being told. Same here. Have all my invoices for the past year, even items not scarce, they have raised costs from 50 cents to $1 to $2 and up everything. Yeah, see, the inflation number is not true. It's completely inaccurate. And here's the thing, I say this all the time as like my personal example. But I buy basically the same dog food every single week, personally. That dog food, more than a year ago, cost like 10.68. Now, that exact same dog food, exact same amount of dog food as well, right, is nearly 20 bucks now. It's nearly doubled in price for the exact same amount of food. And that's just dog food. That doesn't include anything else. So if someone was living paycheck to paycheck over a year ago, you're not even living paycheck to paycheck now, just simply due to the cost of everything increasing. Roach will drag out James Taylor for reprise, blah 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 blah. Oh, but it's not Brandon's fault until something good happens and we recover from it, then he'll take credit. And Olives, you just keep on voting Democrat and blaming others, seeing as how that's working out so well for you, dot dot dot. Let's see. We are 6 months into a recession. The only question is whether Biden will cause a depression. We're in a recession. Must be a Dem model if it's able to forecast a recession for next year that started months ago. Brilliant. Wrong! Exclamation point. All wrong! Exclamation point. The economy is booming. Oh, wait a minute. I just saw my retirement account. Disregard. I gotta say, people who have like 401ks and Roth IRAs, you guys must be hurting so much right now. But here's the thing, this is something that people really need to understand. When the stock market, when your retirement accounts like crash, like it is, do not get out of the market. Do not sell your retirement account holdings. You want to be buying during this time. You want to be a buyer as things keep going down because it's going to eventually come back up after a certain amount of time and you'll end up making a really nice return. But if you get scared and you sell all your stuff, you have just cemented massive, massive investment losses. Like massive. So be very careful. Do not act in fear. Stick to a game plan. Invest for your future. keep buying like assets for your retirement and just keep on doing your day-to-day stuff. Try not to focus on the massive dip of your stock market account right now.